Hi,
Hey,
Cody.
buddy. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
you can't hear me? I think Cody logged out and is logging back in. I hear him. No, I don't know what he's doing. He didn't respond to me. Well, if you're here, thank you so much for joining us or listening in. Feel free to say hi in the chat because I don't know who's here. It just tells me numbers. All I see is one person's watching from, I think that's not Twitch. I think from Twitter, from the Twitter Periscope or whatever it's called. I think it's Periscope now, or still Periscope. It just shows me one person, but I don't know who it is. So Cody walked away. He cannot hear me, but I can hear him, or I could hear him. We do love technology. Let's see. I need to move my.
Hello, everybody.
Can you hear me, Cody?
I can hear you.
Yay!
Well, clearly, I have trouble all the time with my iPad.
Hi, Bobby. I
Hello.
wasn't sure. I was like, is it me or is it you?
It's me. Uh,
Are we wearing the same color shirt?
I think we are.
That's
I
funny.
just
Look
need
at
to go get
us.
my hoodie on. Um, I'll try to reset the iPad. Yeah, it seems every time I use my AirPods, it gets confused between my phone and my iPad. As soon as the intro for our show began, I lost audio, and I was like just hoping that it was a freak incident, but it was
It,
not.
that's what big. Was it the Bugs Bunny one? It's like, nope.
Yeah, we tested it beforehand, and sometimes things
It was
just
like, hey, join us. Just kidding.
happen.
Bobby, are you at work? I thought, if I remember correctly, earlier this week you told me you had to work tonight and wouldn't be able to join us. Let's see. I'm at work but not working. I wish I could hang out, but I gotta be responsible. Well, thank you for your moments of irresponsibility and weakness and saying hi. I hope you have a good night at work. Hopefully I'm not awake when you get off work, but there's a chance that I will be. So if I am, I'll talk to you at 6 or 8 a.m. my time.
Hopefully, work goes well. You survive.
Right? Oh, that was
Can,
disconcerting. I was like, oh, Jesus,
can you
no.
hear me now?
I can.
Okay.
Let's see. I was like, oh, there's activity on our Chromacast. Oh, it's me.
Yeah, we
I
see.
know. I got all excited for a second. I was like, ooh, look at that.
Of course, this is our kind of more relaxed, laid back version. So, if you're watching this on replay or you're here now, thank you for joining us.
Bye, Bobby. Have a good night. Thanks for joining. Thanks
Bye.
for saying hi. Ugh,
Yes, that was so
my neck is
nice.
so stiff. Ugh.
Um, so I'll just take everybody on a journey as I go. Basically, um, we have to run video from a different computer. And so I also have to come still the mouse and put it up because it's an expensive mouse. And Salem likes to slam it on the ground.
He's got champagne tastes.
So we clearly do not want a broken.
Are we really wearing? I really love that we might be actually wearing very similar or same shirts.
I mean, I think we are. Like, basically, it's a white shirt.
Yeah, it's a white grayish shirt I got from H&M.
This is. This is Top Man, but close.
The irony.
Hi, little one. You want to say hi?
Yeah.
He is jumping all over the place today.
Yeah, Ava decided it was playtime.
Okay.
I cut
Nope, we're
David's
not
hair
biting you.
earlier.
Let
Oh,
go of me.
yeah.
Nope. Nope.
Oh.
This is the life of this little
Oh, well, you
monster.
started it. You grabbed him first, and he's like, "All right, jerk, I got you."
Gonna wrap you up like a little burrito.
I cut David's hair earlier, and I shaved it. He wanted normally I cut it to a 2, but today he asked me to shave the sides and back down to a 1. So
Yeah.
when I did that, there was so much hair because his hair grows super fast. There's hair everywhere, and the moment I start trimming, Ava's like, "What's on the ground?" You know, trying to bat at the tufts of hair. I'm like, "Stop it!"
It's like, let's play with this. So, today was like a relaxing day over here. If you've joining us, thank you for joining us. Welcome to the Super Late Night Show. It's a show where we just talk about anything and everything. If you have questions, put them in the comments. We'll answer them. We'll do whatever, you know.
So Bobby actually just texted me a really good idea. He goes, "You two should bookmark stuff you see throughout the week that made you laugh, and then surprise each other with it on air."
That would be fun.
I can say that we probably need to save it for this show because usually the shit I find that makes me laugh.
All the things that Matt
Yeah.
finds.
Can we talk about the video you sent me yesterday?
Which one? I mean, we send so many videos. What would
No,
we
the
see?
one you specifically made to send me that was you talking and telling me that you
Oh,
wanted me to treat you like a snowstorm. And I
well,
played it out loud for David, and he had such a we laughed pretty hard.
did he?
He was like, "Well, who sees that side of Cody?" I'm like, "Me."
Okay, my cat is being a monster right now.
Is
He
that
is
why you're all
looking at
wrapped
me
up
with
in blankets to protect yourself?
he's looking at me with like evil eyes and like his teeth. He he just wants to
Like the
play.
eyes of the void.
Um,
I chose to wear a hat, and it's like blocking my face, but I didn't want the light in my eyes the whole time, so I'm like, this is
see,
wow.
it's like parkour kitty up in this place. Yeah. So hello everybody. We're having a few more people join us. Thank you for joining us again. Super late night show. We're gonna go for about 2 hours. We start every Sunday at around 8:45 Pacific, and we're just
Or
gonna chat.
10:45 Central because Cody does not math
I don't
well.
do the math. So we just chat a little bit. So if you have questions you want to ask us, put them in the comments, or if you want to comment on something we're talking about, put them in the comments and join the conversation. Yeah, so Matt, the video you were talking about that I sent you, I said something like, "Do you treat me like a snowstorm?"
Do you want me to play it for
Six,
the audience?
treat me like a snowstorm.
Give you 5 to 8
Give me
inches.
5 to 8 inches, and
Make it
um,
slightly inconvenient to walk the next day.
and then leave me mushy or something
Yeah,
the
something
next day.
else.
Yes. Yeah, I saw. I was like, oh, let's record something and then send it to Matt. And I sent it to him, like, I don't know, it was pretty late, I think.
Yeah, I got it and I played it and like, oh, a video from Cody. That's weird. Normally our videos aren't us talking unless it's me being weird. And this one was Cody, and I'm like, oh, well, look at this. So when I play it for David, uh, he was like, well, where does this come from? I'm like, I'm telling you, this is the side of Cody y'all don't see. Like, this is this is what I see regularly, and
Wait,
y'all don't.
does David think I'm a different person?
Well, he hears what's on the podcast, and he hears us talk. I mean, he overhears us joking around, but for the most part, when we're talking, we're always planning. We're planning something, we're working something, we're uh, talking out the next project. So he hears like bits of jokes, so he knows it's there, but he never really hears you initiate it. Like he
Yeah,
hears he's usually catching up when we're talking, but you and I have already had a conversation via text before that.
yeah. Hi, Nicholas. Thanks for joining us. I know, me and Matt are crazy. I'll be right back. I have to switch kitties because my one kitty is going to wake everybody up. Ella's going to wake everybody up. But thanks for joining us.
I think I'll be okay for a minute. Oh, we have labels now. Look, you guys, I have a little label with. You guys can't see me pointing, I guess. Um, that's new. Man, every week it gets like a little more technical. Bobby or BZAY, if you can see the chat, um, he's texting me ideas and things that he thinks would be funny, and they're really funny. So, how are you guys doing? By the way, you guys can use the chat. You can tell us whatever you want. This is just pretty casual, just to hang out. During the week, when we do the podcast or the Friday night show, when we do that show, that's more meant for we can all interact, but it's more so kind of focus topics on what was going on during the week, whatever was there. If anybody wants to share something they want shared, etc. This is more casual for us to kind of have fun and hang out. So we just kind of log on for a couple hours and tell everybody, hey, and this is a great chance for everybody to interact with us or get to know one or both of us better. Most of you guys probably know me pretty well because between this and my alt account. But Cody, I feel like so you've been on Twitter a lot longer than I have. My first account was from like the beginning of Twitter until 20, I would say 13 and a half, and then I killed my account, and then I created an entirely different one in 2016, or maybe it's 2014. I was gone for almost 2 years, and I had 7 or 8 mutuals that were my mutuals then that are now my mutuals again. And
Yeah.
1 or 2 of them I went and looked for because I knew them, but the other 5 or 6 we just all kind of found each other again, and I'm like, man, they look really familiar. So I searched my old even though it's defunct, and it brought up people that I had tagged or had tagged me back 7, 8 years ago. You know, this is when like people were like law school bromo and
All the promo accounts
and
or
if you remember the
anon
bromo
accounts.
accounts, yeah, my account was partially anon back in the day. It was just easier because you couldn't block people as efficiently, so there was that worry of I really didn't want my family finding it. Not that I had anything to be ashamed of, but it just privacy, just
Mm-hmm.
little bit of freaking privacy. Like, oh my
Yeah,
god.
I guess I got Twitter like in 2009, early 2009 probably. So yeah, it's been a while. I go through periods of time where I'm super interactive and active, and then periods of times where I'm not. Um, but yeah, it's been a long time. 2009, a lot has happened. Twitter was so different in the early days too. Twitter was like,
Remember retweeting was annoying?
was it?
Yeah, well, do you remember because how you would retweet or quote tweet, it would post that whole person's tweet and you had almost no characters left to talk. 'Cause remember, we only had
Oh
140
yeah,
characters.
yeah, I forgot.
So
Yeah,
for
it
the
included
longest
what?
time,
Yeah.
and you can
I,
almost always tell how old someone's account is because when they screenshot or retweet something or share a memory, it'll be like with a white background before night mode was a thing.
yeah,
Like,
I
wow.
Yeah, early days of Twitter was like when you could like talk to celebrities and they would talk back because it was
Yeah, people
new.
were kind of interactive. Now they only usually interact if somebody says something excessively rude.
Yeah.
Do you know
Or
who is really fun to follow though?
who?
Stormy Daniels is amazing. If you've never followed her,
Oh, really?
her okay, one, she's a brilliant human being, and uh, she is quick. She's very witty. She's very intelligent, and she hits from left field every time, and it's always just hilarious. Definitely. Um, I periodically will. There's like only one or two celebrities I actually follow. The rest I just don't bother because the feeds become overwhelming because like maybe their management's tweeting or stuff they're
Yeah.
sharing for shows and stuff, and it's like okay, too much, and I'll end up having to unfollow or mute over that. But celebrities, that are more like Stormy Daniels, where they're not performing shows 4 days a week at on tour or something, when they have time to interact or are able to interact, are so funny. And back in the day, I followed history and science and comedy stuff, and then
Hmm.
people. And then I stumbled along gay Twitter, and then it like changed my life.
I can't think of her name right now. She is an older black actress, and they kind of made fun of her on
You talk about Jackie
that
Kennedy?
on SNL, and she is constantly tweeting at people, and it is so funny. The other day, she was doing a thing where she would write your bio, rewrite your bio for you. And
Oh
this is
God.
like an older actress. She's like 80 years old. I can't even think of her name right now.
I think I know what you're talking about because I was reading some of these the other day. I got caught in a rabbit hole of it, and I just kept reading and reading.
It
Um,
is so funny. I'll have to see if I can find it. I was trying to find it now, but I couldn't find it. I know if Jonathan was here, he would be able to.
Jonathan knows this stuff. I love Johnny Apollo. He is one of the funniest people, and his pop culture knowledge is second to none. Um, we should do
But
a thing where we go through like we pull like random 10 Twitters and we like talk about them, not in like a negative way. We don't want to be shady because that just comes back and bites you. Um, but do you know who I follow? That might surprise people. It's a former. They do not do drag anymore. They have since left that, but they just go by. They have left
mhm,
that persona behind. But Jess Jeremy, aka formerly known as Fifi O'Hara, I love following him. He's
yeah,
really funny, and I like following Adore. She's hilarious.
hmm
Like she's really funny, and Bianca Del Rio, she's hilarious. I love watching her on YouTube.
I mean, there are some funny people on
Right?
Twitter.
Yes.
Again, we want to thank everybody who's joining us here. This is our late night show. We just kind of chat about whatever comes to mind. If you have a topic that you want us to talk about or you have questions for us, now is the time. Um, like, you don't really get to do that during our podcast episodes. You get to listen. And then our Friday show is kind of more like a show. And so this is your chance to really, really interact about random topics.
Yeah, if
And
you're bored, had something that you wanted to say, it does not have to be related to anything we're talking about. David and I sat and watched one of our mutuals. Um, his account got suspended. And he just came back, but we watched him on Twitch last night for like 30, 40 minutes while he played Soul Silver, and it was just really funny because I think he had a really strong drink or two. I was only half listening because I was gaming too, and I was just getting slaughtered in my game. I had
mhm.
set the level up really, really hard for a challenge, so I just kept repeatedly dying and watching me run from the undead, screaming while shooting at the undead is probably something. Whole lot of swearing, but it was fun. Um, I have a question, Cody. So when
Okay.
you talk to Justin, or if you and Justin talk about mutuals, like, around the house, do you talk about them by their name or by their handle?
Mm, probably name, and because like in general, like key, like we don't have like a large overlapping of people really. And so the only people we really have overlapping are people that we actually know. So I think in that case
And like me.
we talk about them with their actual name.
So like Nicholas here, I always refer to him as Klaus. Like I just so I always and David knows exactly who I'm talking about every time. And then there's I don't want to like throw his whole name out here, but he has Big Dick in the title of his, in part of his handle. So I
Mm-hmm.
refer to him as Big Dick around the house. And
Okay,
David knows exactly who I'm talking about.
Dionne Warwick. That is the
Oh yeah.
actress.
Yes.
Her
I was
Twitter page is a funny thing. And she'll call out brands, like some brand when she was doing the she would write your own bio. She'd be like, "Tell me why I should write your bio," and you'd say tweet at her, and you'd respond, and she might write your bio. But there would be like some brands doing it, and she was like something like, "I know how this game's played. Give me some money, and I'll do it." But
excellent.
yeah, it's so funny that she just recently joined Twitter, and now she like is just like all about it. It's actually, I was watching this. Um, I don't know if you know. Did you ever watch The Big Bang Theory?
I did not.
So there's a girl
I
on
know
it.
some of the
Well,
actors and stuff, but I don't know really much about it.
yeah. So there's an actress on the show. She was also in Blossom, and her name is Meow.
Oh,
I
I know
get
exactly
her
who she
name
is.
wrong every
Yeah.
time. Meow
I think it's Mian Bialik.
Bialik.
Bialik, yeah.
Yeah. She has a podcast, and it is
Yes.
amazing. It is like, I'll have to probably do it as my thing I'm talking about
She
on
has a
Friday.
PhD in, I believe, neuroscience.
Yes, super smart, and she really talks about you. She uses that knowledge that she has and talks about different topics, and then has a guest on.
I
And
watch her on YouTube sometimes.
yeah, that's
So that I feel like that surprises you.
the YouTube channel. Yes, she had one where she was talking with Leslie Jones,
Hmm.
who is her co-star in her newest show that she has on Fox, Call Me Cat. Um, but the whole first part, the first 20 minutes or so, she was talking about LGBTQ issues and like that you are born gay. It's in science, and she explained all the things, and explaining she was like, if you do not believe this, you're probably not going to like this episode, and I'm not going to like I don't need to
Not really up for
explain.
debate.
Yeah, that's what she was like. I'm not going to debate it. These are the facts. This is science. I can show you this. You can go to my website. We put all the information here. These are all the testing that's been done, and there's been over decades of work done on this issues and whatnot. But then she talked to Leslie Jones, and if you don't know who that is, he is a hilarious, funny person. I hope I said the right name. I feel
Well,
like I
there.
said the wrong name. Let me make sure.
Did you mean Leslie Jordan?
Leslie Jordan. Sorry, Leslie Jones isn't Coming to America.
I was like, wrong Leslie. Leslie
Wrong
Jordan is
Leslie.
also
They're
hilarious.
both
He's
funny.
very. I
Uh,
his parts
Leslie
in American Horror Story, like even though
Leslie
he's in
Jordan.
1984.
Okay, he said he was in American Horror Story, and I was like, what? American Horror Story. But if you don't know who Leslie Jordan is, look him up. He's on Instagram. And the beginning of quarantine, he was doing like 4 like videos a day for like 80 days, he said. But he's
Oh,
hilarious and funny. And so
I do not have that kind of stamina.
he's someone who is new to social media and who's older and has just jumped into it like Dionne Warwick has. But he was talking about, because he was on a show on Fox last season where it was like the PR person for the network was like, hey, so we need you to post. Uh,
Hi,
yes,
Quinn.
yes. Dear Lord, I'm about to bust. He is so funny.
and
But
just and I can hear it in his voice.
he the PR person for the show was like, "Hey, we need you to post about that newest episode coming out or something on Instagram or something." And he was like, "On what? I don't have that. I don't." He's
on
like, I
the
have a Facebook page, but
I
like,
can just
but people do that for me, you know? And he's like, I don't have that. And the PR person's like, what? Okay. And she set him up on it and everything and did it. And anyway, then the first day he had like, or the first week or so, he had like 8,000 followers. And he was like, oh my God, I had 8,000 followers. And I was so excited. And then obviously things
that was
went
a
wrong.
really
And
good Leslie like Jordan, I can hear
he
Cody,
got
you have
more
that
followers. And
you
then he
kind of
went
have that
crazy at
accent
quarantine.
like
Tennessee. Um,
there's
he
certain
has
words you say where your accent is just there. For example, Cody, what color is your shirt?
white, gray,
No, the first word. How you
white,
say? Yeah,
white.
you like how you say. You never say it like that. You always emphasize your H's, and it's so cute. I'm like, I always know. I would always know. I'd be able to pick your voice out of a crowd just for that, just with that. But yeah, Leslie Jordan. Even the parts where he's serious, I I just
He
start
is funny.
laughing.
He has a great story. I would recommend anybody watch her podcast, or I mean, listen to her podcast or watch it. If you watch it, it's great. It's very well done, and she's so smart. Like I want to be her friend. Um, but the Leslie Jones interview was really good, and you just
Leslie
learn a lot.
Jordan.
Leslie Jordan, why? I just I'm obsessed with Leslie Jones. Apparently, Leslie Jordan interview is really good because he talks about growing up and how he always loved playing with dolls, and they grew up in a religious family, but it ended up just kind of being okay. His dad died when he was like 11, and then there was a period of time. Then he did drugs until he was in his like 40s,
Damn.
uh, and I think he was doing like crack, and but then he got clean. He's been clean ever since. But I love it. Like he has the twin sisters. His mom is still alive, and he's just a funny guy. Funny
He's
story, and
It's really interesting, like celebrities that jump into that just kind of throw themselves into to Twitter or social media and find this massive following for themselves. And I am not tech savvy at all, and I never have been because I wasn't raised around any technology really whatsoever until I was 10. So until I was 10, like things like I didn't really know how to shower really properly, and I didn't really know how to use I could use like a fork and knife, but if you put more than one in front of me, I had no idea. So when I moved in with my grandparents and kind of got like the big update, there's just things I'm missing. So it frustrates David to no end. So there's reasons he appears sometimes because I'm kind of useless. But my parents, unfortunately, my mom and stepdad, they think I'm some kind of weird genius and know what the hell I'm doing with anything. I'm like guys, this is I don't know, and they get mad at me. They get genuinely mad at me, and I'm like, I mean, one, I don't really like them anyway, but it has nothing to do with technology. And they're
mm,
like, you just don't want to help us. I'm like, I literally don't know the answer. Like, Google it. And they're like, well, you found it before. Yeah, because I went on Google. Well, I'm not smart like you. You literally have the laptop you bought from me. Like I clicked the Google. I was like, computers have been around since the mid '90s. Okay, it's been like 25 years. At some point, it's a you thing. Like it's a you.
you know,
And I
I hope.
recognize I say that, and I am a former Apple employee. I helped launch the 3G. I helped launch the 3GS, and I think the 4 right around the time I left the company permanently.
You know,
So, yeah.
I hope this doesn't happen in my case anyway. But there's gonna become a point in time because that's just how it works. That there's gonna become a time in our lives where we don't know how to work something, but all these young people are just like, oh, you just do this.
Oh, you mean like, do you want to start with, let's see, TikTok and, uh,
I'm trying to get Matt has TikTok, but
I do.
I don't know his username yet. It's a secret still, and we're working on him.
Well, I mean, you can follow me. I'll tell you what the username. There's just nothing happening on it. I also have a Twitch,
Well, you
and
could just be liking all of my stuff. I'm just,
no, because I'm afraid of getting wrapped up in a TikTok black hole. Did I say that right? TikTok black hole. So here's something. So if you're watching me talk on camera and you ever see me doing this, what I'm doing is counting my syllables because I stutter and I have speech impediments. So growing up through speech therapy, one of the things that was used to help me kind of slow down or get my brain and my face to, sync up would be if I catch myself stumbling, you'll see me doing this and it helps me kind of reset. I didn't realize how much I did it until Cody and I would be on FaceTime recording last year, and I would catch myself doing it, and I would see myself in the reflection. I'm like, oh, wow, how long have I been doing this? I did see a friend early in 2020. I hadn't seen since like 2010 when I moved away from Orlando. And I mentioned it to him, when I saw him, and he was, oh, yeah, we all knew you stuttered. We just kind of waited for you to spit it out. It was just sort of a, like everybody knew. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
nobody ever mentioned it to me. He's like, well, it's not like you could change it. So
Yeah.
I'm like,
Exactly.
well, I think it would have been nice to know, but I just saw myself doing it. So I was like, well, this is what I'm doing. I'm not, it's not an OCD thing. I'm counting syllables to help me speak. Let me find my TikTok. I have it on here. I have it on this newfangled thing, Cody. Which channel's the Netflix on? No. Actually, that's likely to be me before it's be you. And
If it's me,
I
there's a problem.
when it's like you're always like texting me like, "Hey, let's try this new app or let's try this," and I'm like, "What the fuck is that?" I don't know what that is, and I'm like googling shit. I'm like,
Like
"Oh yeah, I can like figure
Clubhouse.
that out."
Clubhouse. When we were
What the
talking
hell
about
is
Twitter,
that?
um, when we were talking about Twitter and the celebrities, engaging with you early on because it's kind of anonymous to a point, that's how Clubhouse is, and it's slowly fading off. But Clubhouse is basically an audio social media platform, and basically, I equate it actually more to podcasting that is live. Like you can set up like a show will happen, and it's not archived. You watch it live, and that's it. But anyone can join. Anyone can join. But I say, what is this username? Matt in Texas.
Every other username was already taken. I have no followers, no likes, and no following. Just FYI, because I don't know anything. So be gentle. Um. Oh, so I don't want to like spend the whole time talking about cats, but on Snapchat yesterday, I just tweeted. I snapped one picture of each of my cats sleeping. Like one was sleeping on me forever, and then one jumped out, and the other one literally jumped right back up before I could even get up to go pee. And we all know that when your cat lays on you, you just die there. And I was like, oh, haha. I guess this is gonna be a Snapchat for cats now. Like 10 people texted and snapped me. We're like, oh my god, that would be great. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was so painful to look at on Snapchat that you're like, oh, thank God, it's fucking cat.
Just cats,
Whew,
please.
just cats.
I have to check on my cat real quick. I can still hear everybody though.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, oh,
Hey, girl.
wow, dicks. um,
I think out of all my social media, Snapchat is the one I use the least.
I don't know. Sometimes, Cody, I don't know. Like, we interact on multiple accounts, and you know, I talk to. So for example, Klaus, I talk to on uh Twitter, sometimes Snapchat. We'll snap back and forth. Quinn and I talk on Snap a lot because if I remember right, her cell reception is terrible because I have her cell phone number and we used to text, but when she's at home, her cell reception is terrible. But Wi-Fi, so we will. Yeah, Quinn was one of them, but no, Quinn. Somebody actually was like, "Oh, it was my aunt." That's right. My aunt was the one who was like, "Oh, that would be just great," and then like three other people had said the exact same thing, and then you and some others were talking about it with me, and I'm like, oh man, y'all, I guess, okay. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know when people want to visit, it's mostly to hang out with the cat, with the cats. I get it. I, they're
I
more
mean,
fun.
I do have Ella has her own Instagram and her own Facebook page.
I can jump on your lap and shed, throw up a hairball on your couch too. I mean, your wish is my command. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Like, challenge accepted.
Um, yeah, our little babies.
I
Salem
really wish I
hasn't
could have a
gotten.
glass of wine. Ugh.
Oh my God. So today's update. I don't know if you saw it. Justin posted about it. I haven't reposted about it. But well, like a few weeks ago, as we all know, we Justin and I got a new espresso machine, and Ella loved it. And then
He
now
looks literally like a
today,
sponsorship cat on it. I'm like, what?
that's our goal, right? Me and Justin are trying to get her sponsor deal. So today
Yeah,
she
it's gonna pay for
decided to sit.
college.
She decided to sit on top of the newest thing that we purchased, and it's a new Vitamix blender. And so Justin made frozen margaritas tonight, and they were
Ugh,
delicious. Put a little strawberries in it too. We had frozen strawberries. Oh my God, it was so good. So,
wow.
so
I'm
good.
over here like having dry 2020, dry 2021 over here. So I think I'm going to be emailing my doctor tomorrow. Actually, I am going to request to be removed off all my meds and try a different one because since it's late night, we can talk about this more frankly. One med, so I've had problems in my past before with my heart beating too hard or, anxiety setting my heart rate. My heart sent me to the hospital once or twice. Really fun, like 10 years ago. But when I went on the Stratera, my blood pressure went up, up. And so they got it back down with a blood pressure med, but my heart has not settled down. So it's still trying to
Mm,
work really hard. So the doctor has been bitching at me to exercise more. I'm like, dude, you know, gyms are full, everything. And I'm like, I don't really want to work out or go back to the gym until things are settled down. Well,
yeah.
the missions here are open. They're like historical parks you can explore, and they have lots of trails and walking space. So we've been able to go there now that the weather's better. But 20 minutes of walking, and I am literally wet. I'm like literally soaked. It looks like parts of my shirt were pulled out of a swimming pool. And then last night I went to the gym 2 a.m. because I was awake and it was empty. And again, Cody has like the magic touch of being like, "Hey, hope you had a good day." And I'm standing at the gym at the free weight section. 20 minutes into it, I'm not even working very hard. I'm doing very, very light weights, very light movement just to get my body used to it again. And I'm
Hmm.
sweating. I'm breaking a sweat as if I've been running uphill. And not even just breaking a sweat, I am sick. I feel like I'm about to just faint. And I'm like, oh, let me just try to work through this. And then I started having the thought of, let me just lay down on the ground and just cool off. Like, wait, no, I'm at the gym. That's the sign to stop. It was the same feeling. I used to have this rule for myself when I would go out with friends when I still lived in Orlando, when I was like young and social. And if I felt like it was a good idea to take my shirt off, it was time to stop drinking. That was my line.
Dang, I missed. I am just so
No, yeah,
frustrated that
I
I missed
actually
those
used to go
Orlando
out.
days.
Yeah, I used to go out. I couple days a week. It's hard to believe. When I tell David about it, he's like, I don't know if I believe that. I went out with Quinn when I visited Oklahoma City. I got to hang out with her and a couple of mutuals, which was so fun. We went to Top Golf, and they took me out, and I had a wonderful time. And another one of my friends, real life friends, had moved to Oklahoma City, so I got to see him for a day. This was 2019, by the way. This was pre Panini, and I had a great time. I was super super drunk. Not to like go on about drunk exploits. That's usually not my deal, but I was rather inebriated, and David had made me promise before I left. He's like, "Do not drunk FaceTime me. I don't want to hear it. Just go have fun, be safe. Text me if you need me, and let me know let me know when you get there." And but we had a great time, and I
And
can't wait to go back.
did you drunk FaceTime him?
I did not drunk FaceTime him. I did send him a text message
Oh.
to let him know that I was back at the hotel safely. Well, I went back to the one mutual's house because I couldn't drive. So since I wasn't sober, I had to leave my car uh, at the club and come back and get it at 6 a.m. And boy, that took me right back to college days.
Oh
I was
my
like, oh
God.
God, I was pulling out. I left from there, went back to my hotel, slept for an hour, showered, and drove home 7 hours and got home and showered.
No.
And I was like,
Matt.
I did sleep for a few hours there. Like I had to slept at the mutual's house because I couldn't drive, so I just slept till 6. Got up, got my car, slept for another hour, maybe 2, and so I had 4 or 5 hours of sleep. Drove home and passed to the out. And but
You
like
know,
pulling, like leaving Oklahoma City, I was like, oh my god, I'm too old for this.
I have come to like the realization, not necessarily realization, I guess. I just don't, when I used to visit here a lot, I would come, before I moved here, I would visit like once a month. I would fly out here
That's adorable.
and we'd always go out. And there was many times, one time we were getting home and we got to the apartment and getting out of the Uber and I throw up right when I get out of the car.
Oh no.
At least it wasn't in the car.
Oh,
Oh,
Quinn, I
and
was so drunk.
Murray.
I remember you guys singing, but I don't. I was so. I was just trying to like not say anything too stupid, so I was just trying to be quiet.
You were
Cody,
trying
I
to be the
can't really
cool kid.
picture you like getting out of an Uber and throwing up. It
Oh
just,
my
I
God,
just,
I felt sick the whole time, and I was like, this is gonna be a thing. And luckily, it wasn't in the Uber. Um,
oh, that would have
but
been ugly.
like, I think at this point now, like, just because like I don't drink as much, like I'll have a glass of wine, or we go wine tasting. I am eating constantly with the wine so it doesn't like go make me just feel gross because I just like it doesn't make me feel like it just makes me feel sick to my stomach if I drink too much. And so now when we go out, like I would rather just go out and just have my like Coke or Pepsi or some kind of soda and then just enjoy chatting at a restaurant or even if we go dancing, which I would love to do. Um, just have like a cider and then from there just like a Coke or some water. And so I don't need to like get like super drunk to like have a good time, even if it is dancing and just like enjoying that. Where some people have the need to do that, which is fine. But at this point now, I'm like, I can have fun without all of that and actually have more fun because if I'm feeling bad, then I'm not having fun.
Right.
And
Well, when we were
so
younger, we
I don't
didn't
want to
feel
throw up.
bad. It took a lot to make you feel bad. Now it's like, oh God. The worst
Yeah, I
adventure. I did pretty good in my most of my adult life. I did. So we took a friend out for his 21st birthday when he was when we still lived in Pennsylvania, and he was very inebriated. Another friend was visiting, and my ex husband and I and said friend had gone out for the night, and the newly 21-year-old insisted that he was going to be 21, and so we each bought him a drink, and like welcome, and I would have been probably 27, 25, 25 to
yeah.
27. So I'm past like I'm not interested. I wasn't even really that interested in it when I was 20, 21, and I I remember him going, I have to go. He was really drunk. So we're getting ready to leave. And I was like, do you want to go to the bathroom before you leave? Because we have to drive home through mountains because this is, Pennsylvania.
Oh my
And
God.
yeah, so he goes, yeah, I have to go. So we can't go back inside because the doors have now locked and it's late. So I walk into the edge of the woods. My ex husband helped me walk in there because our friend is tall and much taller than me. So I was like, I need help. He goes, going, and he just like pulls his dick out and starts peeing. I'm like, dude, hold on. Like, let's turn you to the woods. Okay, zip yourself. He was like that kind of drunk. And
You
then
know,
on the way home, it gets better. On the way home, he starts doing the like this. I'm like, oh god,
uh-huh.
he's going sick. And so our friend and another friend are up front, and my husband James and I are in the back holding Josh up, the friend. And Josh has this death grip on my leg, like he's like trying because he said the world was spinning. So I mean, there were marks in my leg the next day from him. So so at some point, I realized Josh was going to be sick. I'm wearing a t-shirt and a long sleeve shirt over it. I pull my long sleeve shirt off and I get it to his face just in time for him to get sick. And I'm like, great. That shirt straight in the trash. We get home. And as we're trying to get out, now I have spent the entire time trying to hold his head up and like
Hmm.
this. So I have been watching the mountains go by doing this wavy thing, and it's not good. And I'm like, I don't feel good. Now I am tired. I've been up probably 24 hours at this point because it's really late. I worked all day. I've had a couple drinks. I'm not drunk. I'm just like, when you're so tired you hurt. I was just
Yeah.
really tired, and we get into the driveway, and we hit the bump of our driveway. Josh's hand slipped off my leg and he elbowed me straight in the gut. And I just wasn't ready for it. And I was like, that hurt. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be sick. And I opened the door and just all over the driveway. I'm like, are you kidding me? And I think David was not my roommate yet. Um, Another friend was the roommate, and he is dying laughing, by the way, at this. And I am annoyed. So we can't even get Josh up the stairs. It's a 3-story house. So I just dragged
Oh my
Josh to the
God.
den on the first floor. I'm like, I'll stay down here with Josh. So our friend slept on the second floor, and James went and slept in our room, and then our friend Steven, my older mate, was upstairs. And like 2 in the morning, Josh had forgot to turn his alarm off for work. He's a manager, so he's used to being up at 2, 3 in the morning for this job. And it sounds like a carbon monoxide alarm because it's a super intense alarm to make sure he wakes up. So the alarm wakes up our friend who is visiting, and he thinks it is a carbon monoxide alarm. So he's trying to like wake everybody up. And Josh wakes up. I have enough time to grab a bag that happens to be in the den, and he gets sick in that, which wakes up everybody in the house at this point. The dog starts whining because she's sleeping in my room with James. And James wakes up and gets sick. And my friend is still running around the house trying to convince us all that there's a carbon monoxide alarm going off. And the poor roommate is just like, all of you can die now. So I only heard about
Wow.
5% of this because I was in the first floor. The whole story came together the next day. And yeah, I was like, Josh, you can leave now. Like,
That's
happy
crazy.
21st birthday and get out.
Yeah.
I'm like, I am too
I,
old for this, man. Too old.
I don't, even when I like, I never have actually really drank a lot. I know some people drink a lot. Like I can do like two ciders and then that's good for me. I am good.
Oh,
And
wow.
so there's ciders, so it's not that much, you know.
My younger
And
days, I
because
never went out and got hammered, but definitely 3 or 4 Long Islands was kind of like my
oh my
thing.
God.
I know, and I didn't know that. I was like, I only had 3 or 4 drinks. And like, what do you have? I'm like, oh, Long Island's, and they're like,
I mean, I'm also really small. I'm really small. I do want to talk about that. We're going to talk about that in a
Cody, I was like
second.
100 pounds.
Oh, well,
I only
that's
weigh
true. I
like a
forgot.
hundred pounds at this time.
I, I forgot.
I weigh
Um,
160 now.
that's right. I forget. Um, so we want to thank everybody who is here, or if you're watching on the replay. This is a super late night show. This is where we kind of just chat about nothing. We don't plan anything. There's nothing set up like our podcast episodes or the Friday night show. So if you're joining this and it seems like all over the place, well, it is all over the place because it's whatever comes to mind or whatever you ask in the conversation. Just leave a
Yeah, if
comment.
there's
We'll
anything y'all
answer
want to
your
talk about,
questions. We'll do all of that. If we're talking about something you want to add your input, let's just do it. So Quinn's talking about you crazy, your Disney gays are wild. So this is what I was actually going to tell you, Matt. So
true.
one of the times was when I was at Disney, because that was so I used to go to Disney World like 2 or 3 times a year, um, before I moved to California. And so like there was this one time, me and my best friend were drinking around the world at Epcot. So if you don't know,
I
Epcot
love drinking around the world.
basically has different countries, a handful of countries. And so we always started off going to Mexico first. Which way did you go, Matt? Would you go to Mexico first or Canada?
I want to say we started with the margaritas. Sometimes we would
Okay.
finish with the margaritas because they were so good.
Hmm.
But so it's kind of like which one, the margaritas and the Grand Marnier slush, like the orange Grand Marnier. Oh my gosh, they're so good. The problem was there was not really any. alcohol in it, so you kind of had to have 2 or 3. Even being a cast member, you're just you don't. I don't remember getting a discount for anything alcoholic.
We would always start at in Mexico, and so this would also we would really do this like during Food and Wine Festival. So there's a
Yes,
lot more to
love food
drink,
and
a lot
wine.
more to eat. But we would start in Mexico, and so we'd have whatever little drink they had, whatever. But then we would go inside and eat at the teeny tiny restaurant that I can't think of the name, not restaurant, the teeny tiny bar that's inside Mexico. And like I feel like we knew somebody or something, and so like there was
Oh,
always a little extra um, tequila up in there.
Disney can really be. Oh yeah, Disney can really be
And
about who
so
you know.
then we continued our way around the world, and it's like Germany, France, Italy, China, America, France, and then we get to England, and then you were sitting there, and there's like the restrooms there in England, and there's like a little flower bed like right in the area. So we just are
Yes.
sitting there. It has like a little, it's basically a little bench for people to sit and wait on family members to come out of the bathroom. We were sitting there and we fell asleep. So like I'm like leaning on him, I guess, and we're just like holding each other asleep.
Did you like pass out, or you just tired and pass fell? Oh
Well,
my
I think it was
god.
all of the above. It was hot, and then we drank a lot, and then we were just like, we're out. Then we woke up, and then we continued on and kind
That's
of rested a bit. And then the night went on. It was a late night, but yes. Um,
the
and then
Disney gays are really those those boys and girls can party. Like
I mean, I did. I don't know if I want to say that here. Yes, there's it. It can be a fun
hmm.
time. I do miss my Disney. I never worked there, but I had tons of friends who work there. And if you start becoming friends with people, you get more friends because
Yeah.
that's how the Disney gays
That's
work.
kind of how it works. Um I was walking
Especially if you don't live there. Especially if you don't live there, because you're like fresh meat for all of them.
so I was walking out I worked in Magic Kingdom at Tony's Town Square, and I was walking out. So Tony's Town Square is at the very front of Magic Kingdom. So for the tunnel system, it's at the very, very back. So you have to walk the far that one of the far it's one of the farthest locations you can walk from. And I walked I kind of ended up by accident catching up to some entertainment people, and one guy in there, it was like this group of girls and this guy, and he starts talking to me, and I'm very oblivious. I do not realize. It took me like months to realize I think he was actually hitting on me. Well, people told me, but I didn't believe it for months. But he's talking to me. He's like, "Oh, where's that costume from?" And I was like, "Oh, Tony's blah blah blah." And he's making small talk, and everybody's giggling, and I'm like, and this is after like a 14-hour shift. I am disgusting. I'm
Yeah.
sweaty. I'm gross. I just want to go take a shower. And because I mean, it's still a job, And he was like, "So, heading home?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Girlfriend waiting up for you?" And I laughed. I was like, "No, no, I'm on your team." you know. He's like, "Ah, gotcha." And I didn't occur to me till later. I was like, I should have asked for his number, huh? It was one of those moments like, but funny story, I did actually date a guy who got my number. I was a server for his table. It did actually happen once. I served a table. There was a big party that came in for a birthday for this one girl. She was a college programmer, and I was gonna close with another girl, and she goes, "If I do your side work, will you take the whole party?" And I was like, she's like, "I'll help you run drinks and stuff. I just want to go home." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Hell yeah." I mean, it's like a party of 15. Fuck yeah. You know. So I'm running my ass off there. The last one's in the restaurant, and the girl, one of her friends, was this boy sitting there talking. He was really nice, and I had to like lean over them to set down their food, like where him and her were sitting at the corner of the table. And I'm like, I'm so sorry because I feel like I smell like spaghetti and meatballs because it's an Italian restaurant, and I was trying to like not lift my arms, and I've got all these plates, and I'm like, I'm really sorry. If you please, I hope I don't smell bad. I'm sorry. And, because I've been there 14 hours. And the gig it goes really quietly. I don't think you smell like spaghetti and meatballs. I was like, oh, that was really nice. And when I left, I just happened to see his name and number on the back of the receipt, off one of the receipts. It was like, hey, text me when you get off work if you want. So I did. And they were still walking around the park, and I was like, oh, I wasn't doing anything. So I changed into street clothes and packed my stuff in my car. And then I spent the last hour. They had like extra magic hours at night. So I just hung out with them for a bit. And really nice. Dated him for a little while. Um, but what was funny is I actually became friends with his ex boyfriend, who he always shit talked, who turned out to be actually pretty great, you know. And he and I are that guy and I are still friends. And I actually saw him when David and I visited Orlando 4 years ago. Just so it's funny how things work out.
That is funny. Yeah, I was a collector of the Disney boys.
Yeah, well, that's
Or
really
my
fun.
Disney, and also my Disney Entertainment. That was what I
Mm,
knew a lot of people in Disney Entertainment. Those were my faves.
same. There was one guy I was I don't want to say obsessed with. He was the roommate of a friend, and the friend was a big pain in the ass. I just remembered something about the friend. I can't really. It involved the Orlando PD.
Oh my God.
Yeah, really bad actually. But this former roommate, he always complained about his roommate and said he was really mean to him and everything. And I was like, why? That just seemed odd the way he would describe it. And my friend was the problem. It was one of those like he was the problem. But I met the roommate and he was really pretty and he's really nice. Like he was genuinely sweet and nice. And I was like, what's
Me,
going? I never asked because it wasn't my business, but I was always
yeah,
curious, like what was the drama. And yeah, I kind of later when there was always something off with my friend that I didn't know what it was, but I just sort of always kept a little bit of an arm's length with this friend, but nothing
yeah,
bad had ever happened, so I never thought much on it. I just kind of wrote it off to him being kind of immature, but not in a dangerous way, just
yeah.
childish about certain things. Like complaining when there was vegetables. I don't really like vegetables. He actually said this to me once. I was like, I don't give a shit. Go somewhere else for dinner then. Like I don't care. Like,
I can't wait to get
that
back
kind of thing.
to yeah, I can't wait to get back to Orlando and visit everybody. The
Yeah, by
one
the time
the
this
one
is
perk
over,
I
so
mean,
many places to go.
hopefully, it seems a lot of my friends are actually getting their jobs back and they're getting hired back into the positions. Entertainment is still kind of a mess. So most of my friends are in entertainment, so entertainment is a mess right now, and there's no meet and greets, and it's like socially distant meet and greets, so like they're way away from people. That was the benefit though, because since I knew a lot of people, or sometimes I guess they would know me, but I wouldn't know them. But because and I wouldn't know because they're in a costume, and but you could kind of tell sometimes because you would get more conversation or extended hugs or something of the nature.
One of my friends
But it
was
was always
Cinderella,
fun.
and I hadn't seen her. We went to college together, and I met her at a Halloween party in like 10th grade. And then we ended up being in orientation in college together in UCF. And she was Cinderella. She was like Cinderella, Kim Possible, Ariel. And she is just the most lovely person and literally looks the parts. And without makeup, I was like, "How are you so pretty?" I'm like super jealous. But I was standing there watching the 3 o'clock parade one day with a friend, and I noticed Cinderella's like really waving at me, and she's like doing the full like princess wave, and I'm like, "Is that Danielle?" And she's like, doing like the full princess smile and everything, and I was like, "I think that's my friend," and I forget who was standing with me. They're like, "Yes, dumbass, she's literally waving at you." Like, oh, I
So
am
Quinn
super,
says,
super oblivious. I just never assume people are talking to me.
yeah.
I
Quinn
feel like
says,
it's
I feel
innate.
like I made one Disney friend 3 years ago and they introduced me to another and another, and now everyone I know is a Disney gay. It's a viral friendship. So this is my
Yeah.
thing. So I knew no one in Orlando. I knew zero people. I came across this guy on Instagram who was doing these photos at Disney and doing like some fun like Peter Pan poses, but he would do them in different places. and I started liking his post, and then I don't know what happened, but we started talking and chatting and whatever, and then we like were like he was like you should come, and I was like okay, and then I went and visited him, and we he was working at Universal Studios, so we got a discount. We stayed at a hotel, Portofino Bay, amazing
Ooh,
hotel. I love
yeah.
it. And so then we did Universal Studios
You.
and Islands of Adventure, and that was a lot of fun. And so because like he needs people, like so we would like get on and ride the same ride over and over and over and over
Hmm.
again.
That is the
Best
most
time ever.
fun thing to do. That's why I like going on off season. January like 10th or 11th was usually the first completely like it would be ghost town. It would be crazy busy all the way up to the 9th or the 10th. And it was either the 10th or the 11th. You'd pick up the day and you'd be standing there and you'd have like one table for 2 hours. Now, the first couple weeks of that, Tony's was very much feast or famine. It was either slammed or dead. And there were times though, if you managed to work the slammed period, you would work every day possible. And I would just go in for these lunch shifts, and it was just like, ah, just
Yeah.
relief, just this freaking relief of only getting yelled at by one person. Because sometimes, you get yelled at by so many people in so many languages, and maybe you don't know exactly what you're being called, but let me tell
But you have
you,
an
you
idea.
get you get the gist of it. But you learn interesting things like who prefers coffee. Like our European brethren prefer no ice, and um, portion sizes, and who to recommend what to, and I was always very honest about what I did and did not like on the menu, and I did not always have the highest sales, but I always had some of the most consistent. Like I was always somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm probably in the top percentage, and I just was always consistent, and I never had to like backtrack on myself because I always was honest.
I've never eaten at Tony's the entire time I've ever been to Disney World.
Most people haven't.
I
It
usually eat Casey's.
Oh, Casey's Corner. Well, they're quick
Yeah.
service.
Yeah. I
Um,
always get the little corn dog.
Tony's is full
But
service. So,
yeah.
but I love those.
Um
They have the corn dog poppers, right? If I remember right. Yes, because
yes.
you could get them in the
So good.
cup, and you just get yourself like a cup of ketchup and mustard. Oh my god. Ugh.
Um so yeah, my friend
Um.
I didn't know him, came to Orlando, knew him. We did cosplay then and did Disney World. So that was the first trip.
What did you cosplay
Then
at?
I did Mickey Mouse.
That's so cute.
There was like two or three. Every time I would go, then from that on we would cosplay, or no, I want to say cosplay, Disney bound. It's so if you don't know that term, it's like when you dress in normal clothes, but it is in relation to some particular um, character. But I didn't know, so I started posting photos with him, and then so people who knew him would start adding me on Instagram, and then it went from there. And then now, like like if you look at my stats from like Instagram or Twitter, or whatever, you can see locations, or Facebook, you can see locations of where people are centered, and my Orlando numbers are huge now because it all started with one person. So you are right. It does spread because everybody wants to be your friend because then they see you and then but I have to say like out of any place I probably have the best and closest friendships with my friends in Orlando. We still talk, many of them, at least several times a week. And so when I go, it's always a fun time, kind of like to meet back up and hang out and
It's
catch
funny
up.
that we ended up becoming
And it's
friends
great.
because like I feel like whenever I see some videos of me, like depending on what we're talking about, I literally see my Disney training shining right through me. Quinn, what's the pay like specifically for you working in a restaurant at Disney? Tips, that weird 219 an hour thing that people are okay with paying servers for some dumb reason. So, interesting thing about Disney. Disney has a union. Walt Disney World is essentially an outpost of California. And there are two options there. They have what's called an 8-hour bid and a 10-hour bid. So my hourly was like 4 something an hour. You still got a raise every year. whatever it started with a server minimum wage, but you got raises automatically every year as a server. So, and you got overtime after 8 hours. So if I worked a 12-hour shift, my hourly was 419, but my overtime was not time and a half. As a server, it was like double time. So I made like $8 an hour. So if I worked a 12-hour shift, I made 419 an hour for the first 8 hours, and I made eight something for the last 4 hours. So I did well. My first, I remember from June 1st of 2006 to the very end of the year, I claimed, now that this has been like 15 years ago, I can say this and not be audited. I claimed $11,000. Now, your gratuities, credit card tips, and hourly are automatically claimed. Your cash is not. I claimed a total of $57 in cash for the last 6 months. I, on average, worked maybe a double and a dinner shift a week. That's it. I easily made 20,000 in 6 months,
Yeah,
working
my
a
friend.
day and a half a week. There was 5 full service restaurants in Disney, and top to bottom, Tony's was number 4, right above Plaza Restaurant, and follow the Castle, Liberty Tree Tavern, and Crystal Palace for the top 3. The Palace, there were some girls there clearing 10 grand a month as a server, and people. I listened to somebody talk about me one day. I was really upset about that. It bothered me for about 10 seconds. This guy was talking to his children who were maybe 7 and 8, a boy and girl. And the dad was, and I was serving them. And they were my only tables, a really quiet day. And they've been asking me Disney questions and, like, cute Disney stuff. And of course, I know the answers. And, we're supposed to know. And so, I actually really enjoyed them. And the dad was basically giving them a lesson about, study hard so you don't have to end up like him as a server. Except he said it in Spanish. So I let him keep talking, and then I answered him in English, and then handed them their food, and then let him work it out himself about, intelligence. And then he asked me what I did. I said, I enjoy what I do here. I said, this pays more than any. I made more than pretty much, unless you were like literally making a ton of money somewhere else. One of the top paid people in Disney made definitely more than the managers, especially if I decided to work full time hours. If I picked up full time hours, you could be capped. You had to average less than 20, you had to average 24 hours or less by the end of the year, because you're part time. If you're seasonal part time, you can't be more than that. Otherwise, they have to be forced to pay you benefits. So, and getting full time at Disney is very hard as a server. In hourly positions, you totally can, but it's a little more challenging on for servers, because they're coveted jobs, and it
Yeah.
was really tough for me to let that go, because it was so lucrative, and it paid the bills, and it was a perfect job while going to school for like nursing and stuff like that. And to walk in and walk out with $300-400 in a day. One of the best days I had was one New Year's Eve I made like 500 in a day. I was so sore. I was so tired. My feet were on fire, and it was awful. And I walked out. I counted my sales. I usually averaged, my tip average of my sales was about 22 to 23%, because I got a. You'll love this. It's called a tip gratuity report, aka the ticker, because everything is a Disney theme. So our ticker reports, I could see my tip averages were almost always 22 or 23%. But I worked hard for it. I did work. When I was there, I was, when I'm on it, and so I worked really hard for it. But I really liked working there for the most part for
Yeah.
guests and stuff, because the kids are great. They're usually so excited and they're so fun, and they say the funniest things. But you can make a lot of money if you play the game right and just get the right job. Hi, Johnny Apollo.
Hey, Johnny.
And
Yeah,
go
I had a friend who was a server, and I'm not going to give too many details away, but he was doing that and another like career that someone would consider a career. And he ended up dropping this thing over here that people thought is a career, and was just doing server like that. And because it was paying so well. And like he had been there so long and he knew everything and how to do everything and work the system right that
Oh yeah,
he was like
I never
doing
bothered with stuff.
well, very
I never
well.
bother with upselling. The managers would try to get into some dumb shits like, oh, ask them if they want a cappuccino after dinner, and then ask them if they want vanilla in it, and then just you upcharge them $2 to put the vanilla syrup in it. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. That's unethical. It's not illegal, but is foul. I'm calling foul on that. That's bullshit. I'm not doing it. And I mean, I was not a friend of the managers. There was a few that really, really disliked me. I just refused to do that because if that was me or that was my family or a friend, I wouldn't want
I
that to happen
mean,
to them. And
because it
what,
already costs so much money for those
right,
families to
people are
be there.
paying so much money to go. I am not doing that. I'm
Yeah.
absolutely not doing that.
That was the one of the things when I would go, like, I had a season pass because it's just cheaper if you're gonna go more than one time, and I ended up getting a
Oh,
season
right.
pass and, um, you know, but so I always consider myself lucky because it was a lot of fun just hanging out, and, like, a lot of times we wouldn't even ride rides. We would, like, walk around, chat, ride a ride here and there, but it wasn't like, "Oh, we have to do this, we have to do this." So I was lucky, but it was one of those things I would always and even now at Disneyland, when I'll go sometimes and just like sit and like be eating a snack or having a drink, I'll be chatting with my friend and I'll just be looking around and my friend makes fun of me because the other time at Disneyland, like 2 years ago or something, um, we were sitting and whatever, and I had some drinks, um, and uh, there's this one that I have to make. I haven't made it yet. I bought this stuff to make it. It's called a zombie, and it's just full of like six different types of rum, and it is strong.
I
It
see.
is good. But we had the two. I had two of them or whatever, and then I'm just sitting there, and then like I'm just like watching people watching and watching the kids interact with their parents and seeing different things and whatever. And my friend always makes fun of me for this, but Matt, you're gonna be like, oh, I see this, I see it. But I was sitting there and then I just start like tearing up and kind of almost like crying and like, oh my God, these kids, their parents probably like saved up for like 2 or 3 years just to bring their kid here and look how happy they are and like their life is just amazing right now. Like though like because I'm just thinking in my head because I didn't get to go to Disney until like 2000, I can't even remember, but it was late 2000s. I had already graduated and like I was like way far away from school and definitely far away from being a kid. But I just like was always imagining these kids and like what excitement because the first time I walked into Magic Kingdom, I like got chills and like teared up
It's an
and
experience, especially if you have a really good tour guide. My first boyfriend, that second boyfriend, he was a Disney employee and encouraged me to come work there too. And I loved my passes. I enjoyed my time there. But I saw some things. I have seen parents scream at their children that to stop being brats. But I've also seen the other thing where the parents are literally melting. They are clearly so tired. You can definitely tell they've been traveling. They're fried. They're exhausted, and literally nobody can do anything right. Um, One day I was carrying out. So Tony's has an inside cafe, a patio area that's glassed in. That used to be the outside. They glassed it in. And it's an inside area, partially inside, and then you could see out onto a patio which has 6 or 8 tables on it. It's the worst place to serve during the winter or during summer because it's Florida, the humidity. And there was a table sitting out there, and I'm carrying all their stuff. And as I'm trying to sit down, something slips, and this plate, the salad plate, ranch dressing and all, it hit the table, bounced, glass plate. I don't even know how, and it hits this girl, covers her in salad and ranch dressing. She's maybe 14,
oh my God.
and had to be the only girl in all of Orlando with her hair down that day. So her pretty long wavy blonde hair is covered in ranch dressing, and her family is in hysterics. They are laughing so hard, and I'm like, I went and got her a shirt. I comped like half that meal. I'm like, And I'm like beat red. I'm like, I am so sorry. Cause that's, I mean, it was really funny, but I was embarrassed. I took 2 steps into the patio and half the restaurant is standing up clapping for me. And I'm like, kill myself. um, I didn't have too many accidents, but the ones I had, legend. Um, I did tell a table, we were seating outside and we've been warning people like, hi, we are encouraging people to like stick with water, not sodas and milks out here. And they're like, okay, oh yeah, it's 105, especially, like guests that are not used to the heat. So table comes out, I set them, I taking their drinks, and I told like, we're just trying to encourage everybody to stick more with waters right now, and tea, anything but like milk and like Coke, basically. And the mom got nasty with me. She's like, why? Are people not used to heat? I'm like, well, people, a lot of our guests are not from here. And she's like, well, we're not either, but we can handle a little heat. I'm like, she ordered her kid a chocolate milk. So when I was out there taking the order for the next table, and the kid literally threw it up all over the table and the ground in full projectile, I made sure to stop and watch, handed her a napkin, and walked away. We have a protein spill. I need somebody. Can you come clean this up? I cannot. I am not allowed, and I'm actually not allowed to do that. We are not allowed to help clean that up. We have to call maintenance, and we call it in as a what's called a protein spill.
Okay.
So there are some petty moments. I felt bad for the kid, and I came back with a kid's cup of water for the kid. But you really enjoy some of your petty moments as a server sometimes. And being 19 or 20 as a server in Disney, you have an opportunity to be petty. The trick is to keep a straight face, and you just cannot react. But I have had half the restaurant stand up and clap for me. Um, my ex Nick, his nickname for years, probably half a decade, was Nicholas Potts, like from uh, Beauty and the Beast, because he was carrying a tray with like coffee and everything on it,
Mhm.
and some guy was trying to get his attention, and instead of calling his name or signaling him, he grabbed Nick by the arm to turn him like towards him, and when he turned it, it dumped the tray off his hand, coffee everywhere,
Oh
all over
my
the guy,
God.
big drama. I did tell a guy to mind his manners once. That was exciting. We were joking around, and they made their kids say please when they were ordering. They were really sweet little kids. They're like 10 or whatever, and I was getting the guy's refill, and I said, he's like, oh, Diet Coke, thanks, like kind of snappy. I actually thought he was playing. I was like, oh, we gonna say please too? He goes, that's for them. I'm an adult. I don't have to do that. Diet Coke.
Oh
And I
my
set the drink
God.
back down. I said, really? Said, you don't have to mind your manners either? Why not? I'm a person. And his wife is like dying in the booth. I didn't care. There's limits where I don't care. There's things I absolutely had no problem going with. You're just like, whip, whatever. But that and no, no, we don't play those. We don't fuck around with Matt like that. Not
Yeah.
this bow tie and name tag comes right off.
Me and Matt have been talking about Disney in the past, going back to like the friend connections and how you just end up getting a ton of friends. Uh, I was telling Matt about someone that I knew at Disney and was telling him a story and then sent him a photo. And Matt was like, "Oh my God, I know him."
He was my
And
roommate for a
so,
while.
small world. I do want to go to Orlando and to Disney World with Matt. I think it would be a very,
I'm
very fun
really fun to go
time.
to Disney with. I might need to take more than one. I usually take one to leave a day. I might need to take two or three
I
to
used
get
to
through it.
go, the park opens and then extra magic hours till like at that point in time, they were going sometimes till 2 in the morning.
Oh my
Um,
god.
and I
No.
would stay the entire time.
You know what?
It was
We'll
fun.
do it. My favorite
Um,
place to go after Disney is to go to Ale House. I love Ale House. I don't know if I'd still like it, but I loved it then. It was just like a great environment to go to after work and just kind of with your coworkers. I
I
rarely went
do
out
have
with my coworkers though. Just
I do have a story about that, but I'll
oh
save that
god.
for another time. It's,
Okay.
I was gonna tell it earlier, but decided not to. Um, Again, we want to thank everybody who is here and who is joining us. We have about 35 minutes left. We're going to keep these about 2 hours each Sunday, beginning at 8:45 Pacific. That is 10:45 Central. I got it right.
That is
Of
right.
course, these super late night shows on Sunday are just kind of random. We talk about different things that just happen to go into our conversation. If anyone brings up something in the comments or a question, we'll answer those and talk about those. Or if you want to add any input to something that we're talking about, you can. So, like, if you're tuning in or you just started tuning in and you're thinking we're talking about random things that don't have any pertinence to what's happening in the world right now, you're right, because we got on the topic somehow of talking about Disney World and how you can make a ton of friends and how you can make some money and how it's a fun time. But
It's
so
true.
if you have conversations that you want to talk about, you can just put them in the comments, and we will chat about them.
I feel like I need to go, Quinn says, I feel like I need to go back now that I'm an adult. I missed out on drinking at Disney, and I'm shameless enough now that I'll ride a hover round. Live your best life because if you can
So
get one, do it. I mean, my
yeah,
feet, I walked on, we had concrete floors, and I had to wear those non-slip restaurant shoes. I don't know how I don't have shin splints. I can tell you there were days I left where my knees were on fire, and I would go home and just put ice on my knees and just to try to get ready for the next day. Like, I don't know what
I
I was
will
thinking.
I will say by the end of the week, because I usually go for a full week. By the end of the week, my
Like
feet
every
and
day.
legs. Oh yeah, I go every day. Yeah, so it's
Oh,
7 days straight, 6 days. It depends because sometimes I get there. I'm basically there for a week, so get there and then leave, so that adds into it. So like at least 5 days straight of parks, and again from morning till night.
oh
Matt,
my
I'll let you
God.
go. I'll let you go rest in the hotel.
Yeah,
What I was
right?
gonna say though, now I'm not saying you should do this.
Okay.
Obviously, there is a lot higher security these days than there has been in the past. Um, but
We go
no,
on.
I do know that sometimes people happen to put vodka or sorts in a water bottle, and because Magic Kingdom does not sell out, it does sell beer now and wine
Ugh, I'm
in
so disappointed by that.
Beauty and the Beast restaurant and at new Canteen
I'm
restaurant.
so upset by that. I thought I disagree with that. There was actually
Really?
strongly,
Wow.
strongly, right from the beginning of Disney, Walt Disney himself did not want Magic Kingdom didn't even have an liquor. We didn't even have an alcohol a license for it. And people used to come to the restaurant. I ordered wine here last year. I'm like, we have never had wine. We don't even have a license for it. And they're like, that's bullshit. They literally stood up in my face and told me it's bullshit. I'm like, there's an Italian restaurant in Epcot. I think it's called Mama Rosa's. And I said, they're very similar to Tony's in menus, or were at the time. And I was like, was it an Epcot place called Mama Rosa's? In a small, and they're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. So you can get alcohol everywhere else, but not here. And because Walt specifically wanted a place where kids and adults could be without alcohol, like there was supposed to be the one park without it. And I didn't even want to work in some of the other parks because I have seen drunk guests. Drunk guests can really fuck your day up. Now your sales can be better because people are drinking and they can be more fun. But if I wanted to do that, I would have went and worked at freaking Chili's. Like I liked working in Magic Kingdom because you didn't have to deal with that. It's more cleaning, it's more work, it's more everything from the side of the server. Like there's just more work in the restaurant involved when alcohol's involved. And people are such dicks. Like they're so convinced that they're not dicks. They're dicks, and I hate deal. You've ne- Cody, you've never been a server or worked in food, have you?
Nope. And
Have you
I
ever been? Have you ever worked in retail? Because you talk like you've
no.
never worked in retail, and
Oh
it shows.
no.
Like
Oh
you
my
talk
God.
like you haven't
Me and
worked
Gabe
a
have
spring
this.
break
Me and
from
Gabe have
when
this conversation all the time.
like you talk in a way that's like, oh, I've never worked when New Jersey and New York were on spring break and made a whole bunch of people cry because it wasn't their way and they were screaming at somebody who was 5'2" and should have been kicked out of the park. A guy followed me into the restaurant once screaming at me. He followed me into the kitchen, screaming. Like he popped up out of his table while I was carrying stuff and just started screaming about chicken nuggets. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, I'm,
there's some crazy things. Like there
I
was that
mean,
thing the other day that happened. The guy wasn't
oh,
wearing a mask and was told to wear a mask, and then like spit at the guy or something. But I think the guy actually has been charged now. That guy, Jonathan, is like my former coworker talked about taking myself and several others to Disney in Anaheim. He followed through on it after I was laid off. Never did like that dude. Oh,
Oh,
that's just rude.
oh,
Well, as
Biggie.
soon as it opens back up and the world is all right and
I've never
it's
been to
somewhat
Disneyland.
safe, oh my God. So we're gonna go when you
Do
come.
you know, my mom has actually been there. She told me when I was a kid, I always wanted to see Disney as a kid because I was a kid. And she goes, "Oh, I remember I was in Disneyland, California when I was however, old and we had some people in my restaurant that were original cast at the time I worked
Oh
there. They
wow.
were this would have been 2000. I worked there from 2006 to 2011. It's really weird that it's been 10 years since I separated from the company. And I think about it sometimes and I'm like, yeah, I don't miss it. I would be celebrating like 15 years with the company, and I'm like, no. But I do miss my park hopper pass. I do miss my ID. I miss my badge. I miss the benefits. I miss
You
so many
know,
things.
there was a
But
period of time I had thought about doing this. They obviously are currently not doing this at all because there's not everyone's even employed back that had been employed. But
right,
you could join in seasonal and like come and work like 4 times a year, 3 times, depending on how you worked out your schedule.
I was seasonal
And
for a
so
long time. I was seasonal and picked up part time, full time hours sometimes.
So I knew several people who would they didn't live in Orlando, and so they only worked seasonal so they could get these because you got passes to get into the parks.
They were
And so
amazing.
they would come work seasonal. So they would come down like 2 times a year. They'd work with the hours that were needed to be required, and then the rest of the time they would just hang out. And so that was a great way. So I had thought about doing that, and then I ended up moving to California. And so like I'm thinking
Yeah, I
because it's
really miss
like
my
might as well not
Universal.
pay, might as well like go come here, work, get paid, and get into the park free instead of just giving you money.
Oh, I
But
decided if I went back to Orlando, I would probably work a second job, part seasonal at Disney. Not because something easy. I probably wouldn't go back to serving. If I could get back to serving, I would probably do it. But they probably wouldn't. It would probably be so hard to go back, and I would probably be straight up homicidal because I tolerated a lot that I would not tolerate now.
I was
And
gonna say I don't even know. I can't even imagine you being I can imagine you being a server, but I just feel like especially these days, that people are just so much. People are even worse today than they
most of the
used
time,
to
they
be.
actually will do better if you lay down the law. Like about people act like the children they claim to try and raise, but if you set boundaries with them, usually you're okay. Like you lay down the law of like, okay, this is what's acceptable. What you're saying to me right now is not going to work. I'm so sorry, but at 19, I literally looked 12. I know what I looked like then. And I'm
Yes.
just like, the people that got in my face screaming at me, I'm like, man, did you feel really brave? Like, screaming at somebody who was like a quarter your size at
Yeah.
Disney over ice? I hope
Exactly.
you did. I
Quinn
mean, I
says
hope that made you feel better.
retail killed the part of my personality that used to have faith that all people were inherently good. Everyone should try it once.
Ugh. Ugh. Um,
We have
ugh.
about 25 minutes left, so if there's anything that y'all want us to talk about or
Yeah,
ask
we've
us,
just talked about Disney this whole time.
you have a little bit of time. Or if you do, if I guess if we're on the Disney kick tonight, if you have a question about Disney or Disney World or Disneyland or
I
what,
might know the
any
answer.
question, I'm sure one of us knows the answer. I am a
Ugh.
pretty much Disney fanatic, and I know anything and everything there is to know and read books and everything there is to know about Disneyland and read books about it. And I'm kind of obsessed. I'm kind of obsessed. But
Wow.
the weird
I
thing
can't
is,
believe it. I'm so shocked.
so shocked. The one thing is, I'm
Deluge of
not.
information that I didn't see coming.
I just don't usually like show it as much as some people out here at Disneyland.
Are
They
you
have these
sure?
like. No, I'm pretty sure. So out here at Disneyland, they have like these. Well, at one point they were called like Disneyland gangs, but then they
Oh God.
became Disneyland social clubs, and it's a bunch of group of people, and there's different ones, and they all wear like these like denim vests that have all these badges, kind of like what you would have like in a I guess a biker gang. And they have these, and they're called different things. And these groups have, they're Disney-ish type names of these groups, but there has been some pretty big conflict sometimes between competing social groups, and I'm just like, okay, let's just you can love
What's the
Disney
name
and
of
be
your social
obsessed
group,
with it,
Cody?
but let's bring it down a bit.
Come on,
Uh,
Cody. What social group do you
I
secretly run and we don't know it?
oh, mine would be so fun, but I wouldn't wear a denim vest. Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's the boundary here. That is the magic boundary. Johnny, I
Jonathan
managed to snag two
says,
dream jobs in my 20s, working both Tower Records and Virgin Megasweep.
"Oh,
One ruined humanity, and the other double tapped it. Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure if I ever had a dream job. Um, I'm kind of living the dream right now, but like I've talked about in previous shows and podcasts, because we don't make anything off of anything, I'm basically volunteering in my own life right now. I'm like, oh, cool.
Matt's a
But it's kind of
volunteer.
like the dream. What, Cody?
You're a volunteer."
I'm a volunteer. Yeah. Cody, I
Um,
have to know, what would be the name of your social group? The Magic Sluts?
oh my gosh, I don't even know. I should see what some of these others are just so that everybody can hear them. Well, I actually had this on my phone. This was my first Disney bound with Dale.
You need to have like a we do like Real Housewives of Disney, Housewife Twirl. We'll find out where my hidden Mickey is.
Oh my goodness. I'll have to like let's see, pull it. Oh, I love this one. Oh my God. Like I have so many pictures with characters. Like that's my thing. I try to get as many pictures with characters as possible. Let's see. I'm gonna look up some of these names for these Disneyland social clubs
So I
to
have
give
some
you an
trivia
idea.
about myself to share regarding characters. There are no pictures with me in any character and any characters, because I get really stressed out by the fur characters, to the point where a lot of the staff had a really great time with it. Sometimes on the way to dropping the cast off, we picked up characters at Toontown, going from
Hmm.
one place to another. And one afternoon, like four or five of them got on the bus at once, and I reflexively almost jumped into my friend's lap. I mean, I was already climbing over my seat. And I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know if this was like a childhood trauma. I'm probably fine now, but at the time I was not fine. And I don't know why. Because when people didn't have their whole costume on, I was totally fine. But when they were in costume, I got really stressed about it. So I never did character meet and greets. I
Huh.
didn't like it. I was fine with the face characters, but fur characters really upset me, and I
I
don't know
love the fur
why.
characters.
I'm not
I
even
prefer
bothering
the
with the
fur
fur character.
characters to the face characters. We're gonna have to test this out when you come
No,
here.
we're oh my god, you're gonna be a monster. So that's gonna be the Coma cast. We're gonna like Coma cast it
Oh
to
my God,
Magic Kingdom.
we can do an episode from Disneyland.
Oh my
That would
god,
be
what if we
fun.
meet in Orlando?
Or
Yes, Bobby.
Orlando.
Okay, Bobby just said, okay, me too. I have to tell myself to relax. Yes, I literally have to talk myself through it. And I literally freaking worked there. And I don't it the cast
So
thought it
you
was so funny.
I can see that. So
Yeah.
you would not be into the furry kind of,
Furries do not bother me. I actually think that's a really great thing. Like pup play, furries, nothing gets to me, does not get under my skin at all. I think it's
but
amazing, and I'm
just
totally
these
positive about it.
furry characters.
Fur characters, specifically at Disney, well, okay, Chuck E. Cheese, like animatronics, stuff like that. I think the animatronics are super cool, but like the character, like people in the actual characters, if they're walking around, I tend not to I get a really okay. I'm feeling less bad now, Quinn. Oh my god, same with the character anxiety. Their eyes don't move and they don't speak. I don't know if they're waving at me or someone behind me. Maybe they have a knife. I don't know. Well, there was an adventure where somebody tried to accuse a Tigger of ruining their vacation and inappropriately touching them when it was clearly the kid in the video, like trying to pull their head off and be stupid. And there was big drama about it. Um,
So
oh
Mickey
my gosh.
does, well, he doesn't anymore. They stopped that. But there was a
Yeah.
Mickey that you could meet that eyes moved, his mouth moved, and he talked to you and specifically talked about what you were wearing or
Nope.
whatever.
Nope.
Loved it. Loved it. Oh
Not
my
this
God. We're gonna have
guy.
so much fun.
Cody. Cody's like,
Okay,
this is gonna be the
so
best Disney ever. So are we gonna meet in
yes,
Orlando, or are you gonna make me come to California and we do go there?
I think I feel like you should come to
Well, I would
California
love to see
first.
California Disney. Let's after we're all vaccinated and we can actually go. Um,
Yeah, get those vaccines. Everybody, welcome. Thank you. We had more people just join us. This is a random, super late night show. We talk about random topics. Today, we somehow got on the topic of Disney, and we've just been chatting about Disney for a while. So I was telling a minute ago, I was talking about that there are social clubs um, that are at Disneyland, and they're kind of like Disneyland. At one point, they were like they were ish Disneyland gangs. So
I
there's like
can't take that seriously.
so first of all, there's over 527 of these clubs now. 527, and some of them could be like the Agents of Hydra, which would be a Marvel thing, or the Alley Cats, the Bare Necessities, uh, Coco's Locos, uh, Disney Punks, uh, Disney Forbidden Eye, Fairy Godmothers, um, the Ghost Riders. Let's see. There's just so many.
Come on, Cody, tell us. Which one are you
The
a part of?
Magic Kings, the Mickey's Pink Ladies, the Neverlanders, uh, the Red Knights, uh,
The fairy
the,
tops. What?
the Sons, the Sons of Mickey, the Sons of Tortuga, the Two Town Fight Club, uh,
First rule. Don't talk.
Wonderlanders. Anyway, I say all this because then if you look up Disneyland social clubs, one of the first things is going to be an NPR
Bobby,
article.
right?
And the NPR article is lawsuit alleges mafia like tactics aimed at a Disneyland social club. So that is competing social clubs. Crazy. Trust.
Like having, can you imagine a Disneyland gang having turf wars and
Let's see, and I'll show you some of the photos. This is what I'm talking about when we have like
did you all ever see the episode of American Dad where they go to Familyland? Oh my god. I cannot even.
so these are the
Yeah.
jackets. They have their logo, and they all have logos. Their logo and the name of the group is on those jean jackets. Um, yeah, no, I think you should come to California first.
Well, I would like
We'll
to see,
do
'cause,
we'll do
obviously I've been
Disneyland.
to Orlando a few times, so um, one or two. I would love to see California Disney, and see what that's, just see what that's like. But I'm just trying to picture a turf war. Did you ever? You don't watch American Dad, do you? There was an episode where where it's set in Familyland, and it's obviously a play off Disney, and they all get tracked there, and it turns into a turf war between the 4 or 5 sections of each family member taking over a section, and it falls into this battle, like a battle royale of it, because Roy G. Family, aka Disney, is disgusted with what the park has turned into and basically sets everybody to kill each other to destroy it because he's so sick of what they've become. And it's a really funny episode. And um, Patrick Stewart is one of the voices in American Dad, and I love Patrick Stewart. So he's Avery Bullock. If y'all didn't know, or if anybody listening watches American Dad, or if I'm just talking to myself here, but I've always appreciated the episode, especially as a former cast member, and it just talking about this just makes me think of that. So anybody, feel free to jump in and support me here and tell me that somebody here knows which episode or what the hell I'm talking about. Cody's
Maybe we'll
like,
have to start our own. I feel like we have to start our own social club.
What would we call it?
I have no idea. I'm not good at names. We're still trying to come up with a name for your show.
Yeah, what are we gonna call my show? Are we gonna call it Matt's Deep Dive? Bottoms up of history? History
I feel
from
like
the
my
bottom up. I'm the weird idea guy. If y'all didn't know that, like I come up with the weirdest shit for Cody, and then what it might become later might be something totally different. It might be the same. But Coma Cast was my idea, and Coma was my idea, and that's not a brag. It was just funny because I thought of it, and I was like, Cody, what do you think? I do not just do things and then show him later. I when I think of it, I write it down or demonstrate what I want, and then I send it to him and ask him what he thinks of it because we are what? A team. It's a democracy in a rigged voting
uh,
system, you son of a bitch. No.
we we have about 15 minutes. We're going to keep these about 2 hours or so. We may go a little bit over, but we'll keep it around that time. We start every Sunday at 8:45. So if you want to, that's just when we do it. So if you aren't getting notifications, I know some people aren't getting
Yeah,
notifications. If
please
you
let
are
me know.
subscribed,
And what I'll do is I'll just make a quick list and I'll send out a text message to y'all.
but essentially every Sunday at 8:45 we're here. And if we
8:45.
aren't right, yeah, 8:45 Pacific. So if you don't see anything on it, it'll be on all of our pages, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. If you don't see anything, a countdown clock, it'll be coming on shortly. If we're not doing a show, we'll let you know by 8:45 Pacific every Sunday, and then our 5 o'clock show Pacific on Fridays. So even if you don't get the notifications, you can just start learning that these times on Sundays and Fridays, we'll be having these shows, and you can just tune in and chat with us and have conversations with us. And who knows what you're going to learn? Who I mean, I didn't know we
Yeah.
were going to talk about Disneyland games, but here we are.
I still can't take it seriously. We took David to Disney for the first time 4 years ago, and he had a lot of fun. He was a bit inebriated. Um, yeah. But a friend of mine from when my time at Tony's, he's since changed restaurants. I told him I was coming back to town. He's like, "Well, obviously I'll take you to Disney." He's actually, I believe, from San Antonio. No, he's from Dallas or San Antonio, ironically. And he still works in the parks, and we got to hang out, and it was really nice to catch up with my friend and another one of our friends, David got to meet up with, and so the four of us had the most fun. I hadn't seen the parks in so long, and it was really weird to be driving up and down I-4 again after so many years of being gone, and
Hmm.
it felt like home. Like it was just I don't know how to explain it. I felt like I was home, and David had never seen me ever in an area where I was familiar with anything or knew where things were
Yeah.
or was excited in that way. But it was just, he was like, this is weird. It was just like a side of me he had never seen. And, another one of my friends, him and he's now married, and I got to hang out with him and his now husband, and we went to Ale House and had dinner. Well, poor David just rested. um, but
I
we
feel
got to
like in
show
this case, it would have been me and David would have been in the same predicament.
Um, well, it just depends. David's really funny when he drinks. We don't drink often, and he doesn't drink often, especially anymore. And because I can't, it's, I'm hoping, I mean, I'm just stuck with
Well,
it right now.
tell David we have plenty of alcohol for him.
I know. um, my goals for this year are to see, well, for the rolling 12 months, my goals are, I would like to see, well, I guess I'll go left to right would be like, or I guess counterclockwise would be California. I want to come out to San Diego to see you. I'd like to see the Pacific Northwest. I'd like to spend some time in Atlanta. I have friends there that I haven't seen in forever. Florida, I'd like to go back to Oklahoma City. All my trips, even my short trips, I canceled all of them for obvious reasons because we're going to be smart. And I'd like to point out, even when I get my vaccine, I am going to continue wearing a mask. Because I actually have not minded it, and it's been really nice not catching colds at all.
I
And so
mean,
that's pretty good.
those flu numbers are pretty much non-existent this year.
Yeah. But we're not going to harp too much on that because I think we hear enough about that during the week. This is supposed to be kind of an escape from that. But um so as we kind of wrap this up, I really appreciate y'all joining us. We never know who's showing up and who is or isn't going to show up, stay, or they come and go. So it's kind of weird because you feel like you're kind of yapping in the dark, but then people burst in, and so you're like, oh hey, thanks for, oh hi, somebody heard that. Oh crap. Because it's really easy to forget you're being watched and recorded. So it's kind of like a less exciting cam house, and we're not in the same house. Growing, when you live in Orlando, there's just things you live around. But Cody and I talk like this all the time, so it's kind of like everybody joining in on a normal conversation with me. Though I think if you interact with me regularly, this is pretty normal. I mean, I think so. Did you see my thing? David was trying to like ignore me last night when I started grabbing his toes and doing like this little piggy did this and this little piggy did that.
I
You didn't see it.
did.
You did, yeah. When I got to the part about uh, this little piggy said all the loads and this little piggy said one, he was like, "I'm not feeding into this. I'm not, and I'm not. I'm just not." And he was like trying to read and ignore me. And my tweet doesn't do it justice because I was laughing really hard at this point, and well, I think he was laughing. I don't know. I just was grabbing his toes, being weird.
He
Um,
probably was just rolling his eyes like, oh gosh, it's Matt.
No, he just wouldn't even look at me. He wouldn't even look up. He continued reading and just totally ignoring me. We have a rule. We do not do tickling things. Because like even doing that, we do not tickle each other. That is an absolute no-no. That is a complete violation of boundaries. And that is a boundary I have always had in place, and that is how you get kicked in the teeth if you dispute it or try to cross that line. Zach grabbed my ribs once, Hogwarts homo. He grabbed my ribs in the Starbucks line here in San Antonio, and I reflexed, whipped around on him, and I was in his face so fast and reminded him of why you don't do that. It's a panic reflex. Um, and there's a reason for it that I'll discuss on another podcast. But suffice to say that if somebody lays down a physical boundary, you don't cross it, and that includes partners. And but I was doing this and I'm like, please God, do not let me accidentally kick him because, being kicked by David by accident would be like scaring a horse. He's got them strong, powerful legs and he's tall. So, and I would be like, there'd be like a me imprint in the wall. Oh God, I can't even wait to hear the playback of the horse sound.
Had to save that.
Is that going to be the gif of the week?
I mean, also make it like eventually we're gonna have sound effects I could play at any point in time. We'll just save that as a sound effect. Just play it.
Sometimes when David's trying to do something, because like cats will not leave you alone for anything, I'll shake the door and I'll be like, "What the hell is that?" And I'll be like, "Meow."
Oh my God.
I don't know why we don't have friends. It's really hard to believe that people don't want to hang out with us.
We have about 5 or so minutes. Save a horse, ride a David.
Yeah, I don't know. After age 30, it sounds really great. Like it's a great idea, but your knees really get tired. you know and you're like, okay, this is kind of sore now, like I need to like change positions, this Aleve is wearing off.
My knees are still good.
Yeah, I've seen. So I don't know what kind of Disneyland gang you're in. Wow. Called you the are you part of the Goofy Throats, or is that mine because I have no gag reflex?
That can
That's
be yours.
damn, my brain still does not turn off.
Here at the end, you learn something about Matt.
I think everyone
Every
knows I don't have
episode,
uvula.
every episode we learn something. Every episode. But you might you might be thinking, we didn't learn anything about Matt, but it'll come. It'll
So
come.
I have to
It
tell you
it
guys
does.
something. So I have this is actually a serious and horrible story, and it's also an example of how sometimes I cannot restrain myself. So the first half of the story, there was a terrible, terrible accident a long time ago at, I believe it was Disney World, where one of our characters was hit by a float. and it was a Pluto character. I'm not going to go into the details about it because it was actually really awful. Because they were going on about park safety. If you've ever seen the back of a Disney badge, it says "Safe D" as in safety, safe Disney. Safe D begins with me, and you know, like we're all trained to lock down our locations, get our guests down to the tunnels in case of storms, because things can go wrong. They may not, but we are prepared to shut down the park in minutes and evacuate all our guests. We become responsible for our guests. So while we're learning about this, I'm about again 19 or 20, and I'm sitting there and or orientation. I forget what it's called. Like oh, it's called traditions. That's what it's called. And so they're telling us like how this character was, you know, because of not paying attention, and it was very awful. And what slipped out of my fucking face hole. So you're saying the dog got hit by the car? And it was out of my mouth before I realized what I said, and I was like, oh my
Matt.
god,
Matt.
no. And I did, because I wasn't being funny. I was not trying to make light of this obvious tragedy. I was just like, the world is a rough place sometimes, you know. And I wasn't. I mean, I have gallows humor most of the time, but I was not trying to be funny. But it slipped right out of my face in traditions. And I remember the table I was sitting with going, you could just hear like six little necks cracking, going. I'm like, I am so sorry that came out of my face. I'm so sorry I thought that out loud. And, you know, I spent like the next 2 hours thinking I'm for sure going to be fired. Nobody said anything about it, but I was hired in April of 2006. So, almost 15 years ago. And I remember me saying that. So,
Goodness.
yeah, yeah.
Quinn says, I'm feeling Cruella Crew. The new version looks with Emma
In the
Stone.
trailer with Emma.
Yeah, I
Yes.
can't wait to see that. That's going to be good. Cruella Crew, that's a good one. Um, we again only have a few more minutes left, so it's your last chance. It's your last chance to ask us something if you want to ask us
Is there
something.
anything you want to know about Disney? Anything weird? I know lots of fun trivia. Sometimes I don't remember I know something and people will ask me. I'll be
I
like,
feel like I feel
oh,
like if
wait.
we go to Disney World, it's going to be me and you just trying to one up each other on who knows the most Disney
No,
trivia.
nope.
It's
I do not
not.
do that with Disney fanatics. Nope. Nope. I only will tell people things about Disney if they ask me, or I'm like letting people into the park that maybe have a kid that want to know, because it is so damn annoying. And you're like, oh my god, and this is where like Mickey Mouse took his first shit. And oh my god, can you believe it? It's there's like a monument erected to it. I'm just trying to have my corn dog poppers and in peace. Mr. Cody's Wild Ride is Cody's gang.
Oh my God, I love that one. Yes.
I think it's more like Cody was wildly ridden in in
Um, Also, I do love Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
I like he was just totally
Um,
ignoring that.
I'm really good at that, right? Um, I love that ride though because it's just okay ride, but the smell because it's an old ride that like you just smell that vintage smell, and I love that smell.
You know, Cody, I don't try to break out the psych degree every now and then, but every now and then latent daddy issues do like seep through. I'm just kidding.
Yes, Daddy.
Oh my god. Oh,
Should I start calling him Daddy?
you're older than me.
I
And
don't
I
think
think
that's
you
how
have
that works, though. These days, it's a state of mind.
yeah,
Okay,
like I've had
Daddy.
when like early 20 something year olds say like you can call me daddy. I'm like silence fetus, you know? Like no. Like call
Well,
me dude, you're probably still on your third safe word. Come on now. Now in fairness, I've had the same safe word since like I was 20. So, but I've thought of others, but yeah.
we want to thank everybody who has joined us. We have reached the 2 hour mark, everybody, and we thank you for hanging in here. Most of you have been here the entire time. It's been a fun show. Of course, we do this as I've mentioned every Sunday, 8:45 Pacific. And we have a show on Friday at 5 o'clock Pacific. And then our podcast episodes come out on Tuesdays and Thursdays. There's video versions of those also available on YouTube. And then Matt's show is going to be coming soon. Uh, it's going to still be a little ways off because we're going to
We're
do
gonna
some
record it as a
recording
series.
and you know before we even released our first podcast, we went through 4 or 5 recordings because sometimes
Yeah.
at that point it was, we were testing audio stuff, but sometimes you just got to get it right, get the right flow so it actually is interesting and not just completely boring or just a muddled mess of stuff. So we're working on that and we'll get that out. That's going to be fun,
But
I
if you
think.
have an idea for a name for it, by all means, it's gonna be series, like a series style, and very likely 6 8 episodes. We're gonna record them sequential, and they'll all be on the same subject. So they're likely gonna be deep dives into various things, and it'll be 20 30 minutes a piece of, and it will just be me, produced by Cody, and because like he's like my work husband. Am I your work husband, Cody? You never talk about me.
You're just my daddy. Um, yeah, we got to come up with a name that actually that fits the context of things since it will
my,
be
my
ever
my pocket
changing.
Cody.
I am a pocket, little pocket person. So again, we thank everybody who's
We
joined
zip
us,
it, cock lock it, and put him in my pocket. What?
and on that note,
He's
everybody,
trying
we
so hard
hope
to end this, and I'm like, 5 more minutes.
we hope all of you have a great Sunday night and a great work week. And of course, you can find us on all the social channels. Let's see, we'll pull that out real quick. Of course, you
Well,
can give
yours
us a
is actually
call
there. Oh yeah, that's right.
at
You can give us a
eight
call now.
five eight 876 4256. That's 858 876 4256. You can give us a call, leave us a message, and we'll play your voicemail on the show Friday or on a super late night show if it's something that doesn't fit the Friday night show. But you can follow both of us, but I'm sure all of you already follow both of us. Um, at Cody Rodriguez on Twitter. I'm Poetic AF on Twitter. And then I'm on Instagram at Cody Rodriguez. And then also on TikTok because I do a lot of TikTok and YouTube stuff. My YouTube channel, Matt, I'm excited about that. That's at John Cody Rodriguez on TikTok and YouTube. I'm excited about my YouTube channel because I used to be a YouTube partner, which means I got paid. But then I didn't have enough subscribers. And so they were like, kicked me out of the door. They
I
were like, we
remember
don't want you
that. You were
anymore.
really upset. I felt
I was
so bad for
so
you.
mad
I went back
because,
and tried to like watch all your videos back then. I was like trying to go through
yeah,
and like watch them and play them to like get you more like views. I felt so bad for you. That was awful.
like, because it
Hi
wasn't a
Richie.
lot of money. I wasn't making big money, but I was making some money. And so when they did that, I was so annoyed. But I'm so close. I need about 200 more subscribers. And I'm there. I've gotten like 400 in the last like handful of days. So that's exciting. My last cocktail video has over 500 views. I made a Midori sour, but I
Wow,
also
Cody.
I also on Friday I made the magical star cocktail, which is from Hollywood Studios, a
You
cocktail
know,
from Disney.
I love the Disney thing, and my well, we're friends now because it's been like 15, 20 plus years. But when your friend gets you a job or whatever, whoever gets you a job or is like your connection, and you realize you may not sleep your way to the top, but you might have blown your way through the door. Just saying.
Numbers
Cody's
on the
like,
screen
oh my
again.
god.
No, the numbers on the screen. Give us a call, 858 876 4256. We'll play it. Richie, hi. But we're also getting ready to say bye, unfortunately.
If it
Uh,
turns out people want us to stay longer, we will like extend and do stuff like that. We just don't want to keep everybody up all night, because we
Yeah, we
do have
might adjust it,
we do have a limit of a couple hours before the program will actually boot us off. We'd have to boot back off and like reset it. And so we did go really long last time. It was really fun. And but I did not go to sleep till almost 5 a.m. because we were up doing the live, and it was really funny. And David was like, "Were you guys really interacting the whole time?" I was like, "Yeah, it was really funny. It was a great time. Social
And
is fun, y'all."
we keep saying this, but there's the app called Stereo that we are going to do eventually. It's a fun app. If you're on here, I would go ahead and just download the app in preparation for us to be on that, because that's a fun app that you can like just hear other people chatting and talking. So if you're bored at night and you have nothing to do and no one's awake and you have no friends to talk to because they're all falling asleep. Luckily, I don't have to deal with that because Matt's always up.
Yeah, yeah. I
But
was like,
if you just are wanting to listen to someone chat while you're like going to sleep or something, it's a great app. It's Stereo, and it's kind of like well, it's not like Tinder, but basically you can swipe and you go to a different show, and for each swipe it goes to a different show, and you can just like listen in. If it catches your attention, good. If not, swipe and go to another show. And Richie has to work tomorrow and just wanted to pop and say hi. Well,
"Thank you."
perfect timing. You can join us, of course, on replays too. You can watch us again if you want to.
Yeah,
2 hours of Disney talk.
right.
Um,
I watch the replays. I'll set and play them because I'm always looking for, if there's a quality issue or something we talked about that I wanted to bring back up to you later. And sometimes I'll hear, the noises we make when we're listening to each other or like have a thought. Oh, God. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry. This is who I am. And of course, I'm going to look back at this week and be like, wow, I went full like uh, hoodie and
Look, we're
hat and
twins.
like went douche bro on it. Yeah, we did not plan this. We ended up being dressed alike. And I'm like, well, yeah, are you wearing jeans? I'm still like, I'm still in
Mm-mm.
jeans. Like,
Sweatpants.
sweatpants. Oh,
Sweatpants.
I love sweatpants. I got new
I've been
joggers and
wearing.
they were the best things ever.
Well, these aren't.
Uh,
Gabe gave me a bunch of sweatpants,
I
and
see.
Matt, there is nothing there.
Okay.
Um, so he gave me a bunch of like black sweatpants and whatnot, and he had a lot of like drop crotch pants and jogger type pants. Oh my God, girl, so comfortable. I was gonna give them all away because I just have so many clothes, and I came across them. They were in a bag, and I was like, oh my God, these are so comfortable.
Yeah, I got my first pair of actual joggers, and I posted them because it was not, apparently not too late for gray sweatpants season, and I
Never's
wore them
too
to
late. Never's too
yeah,
late.
I wore them to the gym last night, and yeah, I have to find different underwear to wear with them because that was not my
It
best plan.
it
I
may
was
be too late for y'all because it does get hot in Texas,
during the
but in
day.
California here, cool nights,
Yeah, it was like 50
perfect.
degrees yesterday morning, and then 75 all day. So we hiked a
Well,
couple mile.
Daddy, I'm gonna need you to bring your joggers when you come.
Why?
It's never going
Why?
away. I
Why?
mean, I
Oh, ugh.
um
Are we gonna do a
yeah,
birthday
so
live for me in a few months when I turn 35?
party.
Yeah, party. I love a door.
Um
We'll do a roast. Oh, that'll be fun. Let's do a Twitter roast. Wait, not of me because you guys will make me cry because I don't want I cannot even deal with like the things you guys would probably say about me.
it would be so fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I don't have anything else to say. I'm going
No.
to I'm gonna finish painting my nails. I have to do this hand one more time. I got
I'm
purple
gonna go
nails.
eat the rest of my Firehouse subs because I got an extra a large one
Mm.
today, so I ate half before this. I'm going to eat the other half in about 5 minutes.
I'm gonna eat a Little Debbie's Swiss roll,
Ugh, I love
and
Swiss rolls.
I haven't had them in forever. We were at Target the other day, and I saw them, and I was like, okay, put those in the bag. I had to like get basically I had to buy more than $75 worth of stuff because I was gonna get like a $20 reward. And so like I was like, well, okay, add that to the list. I don't eat them, but
I'm sure you'll manage.
they were good. I had one. I've already had one yesterday, and it was so good. And then today has just been great because we had to go do some like little chores real quick, looking for Ella food. Still on the search for that. That's annoying. And but then we got the blender at Costco, and then we got Raisin Canes for like dinner,
Damn.
and we got our walk in. We didn't get to walk all last week because everything in the world was happening, and then we had to do taxes, and so we finally got to walk today. So it's been. I think we're starting off the week good. We're starting off the week good. But
Well, look, Cody, I will see you Monday or Tuesday because that is the next day one of those days we are recording.
Matt says it's like he's gonna see me, but we're gonna message each other in like 30
Yeah,
seconds.
probably like 10 minutes. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. If you want to follow me, I'm Poetic AF on Twitter, and I am on Snapchat. If you want my Snapchat, just DM me or Cody. You know, if you know Cody better, you're welcome. Just if you add me on Snapchat, please tell me who you are, because
I
some
know that's the
stranger
one thing
add
that's
you. Just
annoying.
just tell me who you are. It's fine. I like my Snapchat is safe for work because I have a couple family members that follow, so it is safe for work. Um, and I am on TikTok at Matt in Texas TX, Matt INTX. I have not posted yet. Cody is my only follower, and I'm working on it. Just
I'm a
give me a
true
minute.
supporter. I'm
A
a
true
true
supporter,
supporter.
yeah. I follow all Cody's projects because I am a good work husband. But have
And
a good night, everyone. Thanks for
with
joining.
that, yes, thank everybody who's joined us, and we will see y'all on Friday. Be sure podcast Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm Cody, and that's my daddy. Everybody, see you next week.